Welcome back to your second week of the interpretation of the playing cards. Today we are getting into the clubs, which means it's all about communication. And it doesn't matter what type of communication. It could be communication of thought, verbal communication, written communication, text messaging, emails, any smoke signals, any type of communication you can think of. That is what represents the clubs. Thought and communication. Exactly. That's all. Just that. And it represents that period between, like, the hearts are from birth to, let's say, high school. Okay, so clubs would be from high school through college, right? Right before we're about to embark on our life skill or our life triumph or our life journey, but definitely it represents that period. Okay, so if you meet someone that is a club, or if you study the destiny card system, which is a whole nother avenue, a whole nother lesson, a whole nother thought, these represent birthdays. So if you want to get into the destiny card system and learning that as well, just email me and we will talk about it. Okay, all right, so now doing tarot readings with these cards. Okay, Ace of Clubs. Remember, aces represent one. Okay, so one being I and communication, I think, right? So this is a new beginning. Ones represent new beginnings. It's like an ace, like an ace of wands or things of that nature. But it's a brand new way of thinking, a brand new way of, it's like the aha moment. It's like when the light bulb goes off, okay? So that is a new way of thinking or a new way of communicating. Now the twos typically don't like to be alone. Like, hence the Two of Hearts is the love affair card. No one wants to be alone. The Two of Clubs always wants someone to speak to. So knowing that these are conversations between two people. A lot of times twos, especially this one, has a fear of being alone or a fear of not having someone to talk to. Okay? Now, on the lower expression of this, it's the argumentative card. So make sure you remember that. Write that down. It's also the argumentative card. And typically that argument comes out of some place of fear. And the fear is typically maybe not unknown or not real, but because we think that we don't have someone to talk to, or we think that we're not going to be able to communicate, then hence the argument. Like, I don't want to be alone, therefore I'm going to fight you to stay. Okay? All right, so the three of clubs, the three of clubs is about, indecision. Indecision up here. Which way do I think? Which way do I, almost like you have one person on one side of you expressing their thought and another person on the other side of you expressing their thought. And you're in the middle thinking, well, who do I listen to, right? It's almost kind of that Libra energy, kind of like the back and forth, not really resounding ourselves to one or the other, just creative. Now, on the higher side of this is the creative card. Maybe it's taking what this person is saying and what that person is saying, and we're merging it together to make it your own thought. Does that make sense? Okay, so now creative, this also represents creativity in the thought realm. Like this might show up as someone writing a book because it's creativity. It might show up as someone singing, rapping, dancing. But it's all through thought. If you can think it, you can be it, okay? So that is on the high side of that. So if you find yourself, or if someone finds themselves worried a bit, tell them to go outside, do some gardening, think it through, write a song, write some poetry, okay? That will ease that monkey on your back, if you will, okay? Now, the four of clubs, remember we talked about the four, and it's kind of like control, right? It's kind of like a house, but it's up here in your head, or it's in someone else's head. It's almost like the control of thought. Now, this is good if you're trying to pass an exam. This is good if you're trying to get something finished as far as maybe your degree or just getting some knowledge under your belt, okay? Now, if this is in a relationship, someone might be controlling the way that you think. Does that make sense? It's like, I think like this person would be, I think like this. So if I think like this and it works for me, then doggone it, it should work for you too, right? So be mindful of that. That's the control card, the control up here, okay? Typically when people are trying to manipulate you, this card will come through because they're trying to control how you think. Okay, now the next card is the 5 of Clubs. Remember the 5 with the X? Right? So the 5 with the X is like, the 5 of Hearts is like this emotional roller coaster ride. I'm in, I'm out, I'm in, I'm out. I might divorce you, I might not divorce you, right? Now, the 5 of Clubs is like, I'm trying to make up my mind. Like one day you think this way, but then the next day you're like, you know what? I'm not thinking that way today. It's almost like I'm going to the movies tomorrow. It's like I'm going to the movies tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and I change what? I change my mind. Yes. So this is a matter of changing your mind, changing your thought. Now, sometimes this works for the good. Sometimes, it doesn't work for the good because maybe it seems as though you can't make up your mind or that person can't make up their mind, which doesn't feel very grounded to other people like, a 4 of Clubs, which is very grounded in thought. This one, not so grounded. It's almost like you change your mind so much, I feel like, or this person or this energy changes the mind so much that it's even laborious to your own thought system. Like, I'm tired of changing my mind. I want to be absolute in my thoughts, right? Maybe like you're taking a test and you're like, is it this one or is it this one? Is it this one? And you just can't make up your mind. So that's this one, the knowledge, the roller coaster ride. Now, to get the best expression out of this card, take a trip. That's right. Take a trip. Plan a trip. Start planning the trip out. If at all possible, go on a short trip to get rid of this energy that's just like, it's like you gotta move your brain, right? So just get in the car and just go see different things, speak about what you're seeing, write it down, videotape it, get out and move and do some type of communication, okay? Now, the 6 of Clubs, 6, remember the 6 is karmic and there's nothing, it's like constant. So basically the 6 of Clubs is the truth bearer card. It's the way you speak, but like the 6 of Hearts is responsible for the way you feel. What you give in your emotions is exactly what you receive. This one is how you speak to people, gives them the permission to speak to you the exact same way, okay? So this can turn into a huge argument if this card is maybe with this one. Like someone's like, no, this is my truth and I'm sticking to it, right? And this one could be, no, this is my truth, but I changed my mind about my truth. My truth changes, okay? So this is the truth bearer. This is the truth. I'm speaking my truth, right? And typically what happens, unless it's with a 5, typically what happens is your thoughts never change. Your truth never changes. It keeps going on and on and on. And sometimes 6s show up as being stagnant. Sometimes you feel like, I'm so tired of thinking this way. This could represent like, all my life, I was a Catholic, right? All my life. And then something changes your truth. And now I'm not that way anymore. My truth has changed. But make no mistake, it's going to take you a good 50 years before you change because this card is just stagnant, okay? It just sits there and sits there and sits there. Now, the 7, back to the spiritual cards, okay? The 7 is saying, you know what? You know how the 6, it's like, it's straight down, right? The 7, there's something to get over, something you have to go around, something that you have to digest, right? So the 7 of clubs is typically, it's a spiritual card, it's spiritual in thought. And think of a pendulum or that pendulum in a clock. And you know how the pendulum swings this way, then it swings that way, swings. Okay, so when you swing a certain way, it's almost like you go into the spiritual realm, right? It's like your mind is somewhere else. And then, or you are somewhere else up here, right? It's like when you meditate and you go astral planing and all that, right? So then you come back to this world that we live in, and you realize that on the other side, in the spiritual world, there's no taxes, there's no picking up kids from the babysitter, there's no red lights, there's no traffic, there's no annoying anything, right? And then you come back to this world and it's like, oh my God, it's so hard, right? It's so hard, right? But finding the balance between the spiritual world and this world, that's this card. So sometimes this card shows up as negativity in the way you speak, negativity in the way you think, because you know it can be easier. You know that on the other side, life is gentle and kind and loving. But when you come back into this real world, there's horns blasting, there's people yelling, and you might not like this. This is a spiritual card. Find your spiritual peace. This is every morning you wake up. If you are religious, you go into your prayer. You pray. If you are spiritual, you go into your meditation. You do your yoga. Does that make sense? You go within. So this is the card that's going to find balance between the spiritual, and that is the balance. Letting go of all of this worldly stuff and realizing I'm safe, I'm confident, and I am loved in this universe. The negative aspect of it is negative thinking, because it's almost like jaded that things aren't as nice in this world as they are in the spiritual world. So this is the work card. This is definitely a work card, okay? Now, the 8 of clubs is a card of, this is a fixed card. This is no joke, right? So if this card controls the mind, right, because it's controlling, it's a 4, then the 8, remember 8s are very powerful. So this card right here will not change their mind. Talk about a bull in the china shop, the way people think. This influence right here, no one is going to change their mind. No one is going to change their mind. Like, let's say you have this one with the 5, which is always changing their mind. This card will trump this card. So if you're having problems and the reading shows up with these 2 cards, you might start off with a lot of restlessness in the way you think. But by the end of that reading with this 8 of clubs, oh no, you are definitely going to be solid in your thought process, and no one is going to change your mind. No one. This card is like if someone wants to be an attorney, right? And you need to convince people of something. This is a beautiful card for an attorney, okay? Debate team, things of that nature. Think of debate team, think of trial lawyer, okay? That is this card. No one is going to change your mind. As a matter of fact, you're going to change everyone else's mind, okay? All right, so let's get into the 9 other spiritual card. So the 9 of clubs is, remember, 9s are of giving or letting go. So either one of these things are going to happen. So the 9 of clubs is about giving knowledge or letting a way of thinking go. So this card, if someone wants to be a teacher, this is a beautiful card to become a teacher. Because why? Because you are giving knowledge away. Yes, you're giving knowledge away. So public speaking, speaking at a podium, speaking as a pastor, speaking to a large amount of people. This person is very knowledgeable. They have a lot to share with people, and a lot of this information, it comes directly from source. So some of these people, they haven't even, like I said, if you decide to learn the Destiny card system, people born on this birthday, a lot of the knowledge, so you interpret this into your reading, a lot of the knowledge that's coming through this card comes from source. It's like you see the line, you see yourself directed to source, all right? So know that, let's say someone has an aha moment, right? Well, guess what? Here's the aha moment. It comes from source. It comes from your higher self. Here's the Eight of Clubs. Guess what? These two cards together, no one is changing their mind. When that aha moment comes, full speed ahead, because whatever grand idea this is that came out of nowhere, your higher self is going to be successful, because this Eight of Clubs is going to make it successful. Now, the Nine of Clubs on the other aspect of this is letting go. Remember, either giving knowledge or letting go of a way of either speaking, letting go of a way of thinking, letting go of a way of communicating. It's the ending of a form of thought, an ending of a form of communicating, things in that realm. Definitely the end of it. And you will know basically by what cards are around this card, okay? So let's say, hypothetically speaking, you have this card in a reading with this card. And remember, this is indecision, right? And this right here is the Nine of Clubs. And this Nine of Clubs is like letting go. So the indecision, that I can't make up my mind, is I'm letting it go. I'm letting go of the idea that I can't make up my mind. Like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. I'm ready to let the indecision go, okay? Now, next card is the Ten of Clubs. Now, tens are all about success. The Ten of Hearts is all about success with large groups of people. Ten of Clubs is all about success in speaking to a large group of people. And typically, these people need your assistant. These people might be like, they need your knowledge. Whatever you're saying, whatever you're sharing, you are teaching. This is a teacher. This is a teacher card. This is teaching on a grand scale, because remember, at the tens, this is you, or this is the person you're reading for, in the middle, and here's all the information surrounding, all the information. This is the person in the middle. So Ten of Clubs is success with large groups of people. So, like I said, in the Destiny card system, I have to keep bringing that up. This card typically is people born on this day of the Ten of Clubs typically are singers. You can Google a ton of singers, and a lot of them have a Ten of Clubs, because they have a lot to share with the world on a large scale. These people run foundations. They run they just have a lot of people under them. They see all these people under them. They have a lot of people. They're very, very, very successful in giving out knowledge. Now, if that is not the case, these people also are like matriarchs or patriarchs of the family. Everyone in the family comes to this person because they have so much knowledge to share, okay? Now, moving on to the Jack. Jacks are like pages, okay? So they don't necessarily always, they're not always, but they're not a king, they're not a king, they're not a king. I'm just gonna say they're not a king. So this particular Jack, because it's a club, and Jacks can be creative, they can be a little bit crafty, they can be immature, especially this one. This one finds joy in fooling people. This one finds joy in communicating with people in a way that maybe makes them laugh. This would be a great card for, or in a spread, if someone wants to be a comedian, right? Or someone wants to be an actor, because they're not being their true selves, but they're using this creative energy in a productive, financially beneficial manner versus just lying. I'm just gonna put it out there. This sometimes can be, sometimes this guy comes or this girl comes and they just don't tell the truth, and they just can't find the truth if it was staring them right in the face. So if this person or if this energy is not in a productive manner, like acting or writing a book, writing a story that doesn't necessarily belong to them, it's just fiction, right? You get where I'm going, right? You totally get where I'm going. Use it in like acting. I'm acting as if I'm a doctor. I'm not really a doctor, but I'm acting as if I am a doctor. That would be a Jack of Clubs. Now, typically, I'm going to go here with the Jack of Clubs. Sometimes this is an androgynous person. Like maybe you can't tell whether they're male or female. So if you get this in a spread and it's a love spread, then make sure. Sometimes the sexuality in this card is fluid. Like you're not sure whether it's male, female. It might show up as bisexuality, but it's not always the case. Okay, but you will be able to tell by the cards that are, let's say it's a Three of Hearts, and the Three of Hearts is typically uncertain about love, and it's attached to the Jack of Clubs. So someone who is uncertain about love, and this is like a card that really isn't male or female, 9 times out of 10, there's probably some fluidity going on in someone's sexual reading, okay? Now, just had to put that out there, okay? Now, the next card is the Queen, dun, 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 of Clubs. Now, know that if this shows up, someone is using their psychic ability a lot, okay? Now, that is one aspect. Write that down, psychic. Probably one of the most psychic cards in this deck, okay? So if this card comes up, someone is definitely using their intuition. Now, a lot of times people use this card with their business, and that is great. So if you get this with a successful business card, you know that they're using their intuition to be successful, right? They're not looking at people's backgrounds. They're not looking at numbers or figures. They're just using their intuition. Like, I get a gut feeling that this person would make a great partner for me. This is the gut feeling card. Okay, now on the other side of this person is very, very organized because she or he is on top of their game, and like they gotta put their ducks in the row. Everything has to be in order. The files are all blah, 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 neat and organized. And this person nurtures through knowledge. They also teach, but they teach more in a loving way, in a matronly way, in a mom way or a dad way. Like, you need to do this and you need to do that. But it's not so much as, I'm singing to the world, we are the world. I'm not doing that. I'm teaching. I'm definitely telling people what to do, but I'm telling them in a way like I'm trying to be a parent. Right? This doesn't always bode well in a relationship, but you know what I mean. So she can also be a little bit high-strung and a bit witty. A bit, not witty, but quick wit. Sharp with the tongue, right? Just write that down. Sharp with the tongue, okay? So there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on with this queen. Now, the king of clubs. Now he has, like the King of Hearts, has all the information of all the other cards in that suit. So the King of Clubs is very connected to source. He or she has a knowing. So if this shows up in someone's spread, know that this person is very smart. They're probably, remember this, they're probably not at the point where they are at their peak of success, right? It's like, they're not at their peak. They're on their way. They definitely have a hold of things. They're organized. They know the truth. All of these cards, right? So this card, typically, he or she is very honorable. This king is very, very honorable for the most part. Can this king be argumentative? Yes, but not in the typical sense. It's like argumentative as in, hey, I spoke my truth. I'm done having this conversation, and that is it. Conversation is over because, I'm the king and I say so. So it's more like that kind of argument. Like, it's done. Conversation is over. And so this is an all-knowing card, and I feel like, once again, connected to source. like the Nine of Clubs. It's connected to the all-knowing, and this person or energy gets bright ideas that can further their career. So it is a card of success. It's a card of being on top of your game. This person is a leader. They might be like, they might teach. And when they teach, trust me, this card commands the presence of the room because this card is got a king, got a crown, got a crown. So if this shows up in someone's love reading, you know 9 times out of 10, someone is playing the parent, teaching, and basically, I don't want to say belittling, because this card does know that, you know, at work, it's okay to get up on your high horse and speak and talk and tell people what to do and delegate and so, but not at home. So this typically has issues in the home life, okay? Because it's hard for this energy to snap off from delegating, speaking, giving orders, blah, 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 to come home and say, yes, dear. Yeah, that's been difficult for this card, okay? All right, so the clubs are all about thought. They're about expression of thought, singing, thinking, writing, speech, speaking. It could be writing a book, a novel, screenplay, poetry. So you might even get into this energy might be representing speech writers, if you will. Now, let's play a little bit and let's add, now I didn't do this in those that are watching this for the second time. I want to, just kind of show you a little bit, play around with it a little bit. Okay, so let's say, hypothetically speaking, you have a 2 of clubs in a reading with let's say the Queen of Clubs, okay? It's in your spread. And you're like, what the heckity is this, right? So this is communication and communication. This is communication one-to-one, right? And this person right here is speaking to someone else. And this person typically, I want to say they know a lot of information and they're speaking to one-to-one to another person. So if someone says, hey, is blah, blah, blah going to call me? You'd be like, and let me tell you, it's going to be hard to make them be quiet, okay, because it's a double club. So the more club energy, the more communication, okay? So finding a constructive outlet for all of this verbal energy or thoughts or written, you got to write a book, right? All right, so let's say, hypothetically speaking, you have an 8 of clubs with a King of Clubs, okay? Now, this energy, remember, this energy is the bomb. This energy is the trial lawyer. You're not changing your mind. They're going to convince the whole room that the way they think is the right way. Now, add the King of Clubs with it. Not only is it the right way, the energy that I'm putting off is it's the right way and it is the only way because I am right and this comes from source. So there's a bit of authority now that's added to this 8 of clubs. Not just I'm not changing my mind, there's authority behind it. I'm absolutely not changing my mind on this because I got a direct answer from source, and source says to me, this is it. This is like no holds bar. This person is not changing their mind. Okay? All right. So let's do 9 of clubs. 9 of clubs with, let's say, the Jack. Yeah, there we go. 9 of clubs with the Jack. So this person, this energy, if you will, if this shows up in a reading, a 9 of clubs and a Jack of clubs, this energy is showing that this person is either speaking a lot and it's very, very creative. Maybe they're on stage, maybe they're on Broadway, and they're speaking and they're acting in a play, and it's gorgeous. And the way this person speaks, because it's so creative, and it's and you're speaking, you're giving out knowledge. It's almost like their voice has like you ever hear James Earl Jones? It's very distinct. His voice is very distinct. If you Google James Earl Jones, listen to his voice, you'll know there's not another voice like that. Or like a Whitney Houston. You're never going to hear that type of voice again. So it's kind of like that. Somebody's going to have a voice that is totally different. Maybe they're TV or I want to say a radio announcer, because you got to have a authentic voice, because it's got to stand out, because you can't see the person, so you got to hear a different type of voice. Okay, so this is the actor, and this is or now listen. This person might be letting go of a way of thinking, depending on how this is showing up. So letting go of a way of thinking. And what am I letting go of? I'm letting go of not being dishonest any longer, right? Because this card can be very dishonest and find joy in it. And this card is saying, I'm going to let that go. I'm not going to be dishonest any longer. You will know by this what the rest of the cards that surrounding these, okay? Now, let's see what else we can look into. Let's say we have a 6 and a 7. Yes, 6, 7. So this is the card of the Truth Bearer card, right? And you know you're not going to change your way of thought. This card is the Spiritual Enlightened card, because I went to the other side and I came back and now I have all of this information. Boy, it's different here on earth, right? But you're coming back with what? The truth. And the truth will remain for a very, very long time, because you got it from the other side. Now, as far as if this is the negative part of this, then you might say, you know what? I'm negative and I'm jaded, and it's just going to go on for a long time. And the truth is coming through. Like it is what this person is saying. It is the truth, but the way it's being delivered is in not such a bright and loving way. It's more like, you know, Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh, okay? All right, so these are the clubs. Make sure you take notes. Make sure you do your readings once a week, and we will definitely do some practice runs. You will definitely do some practice runs. Let me know how it's working out for your weekly or daily readings, okay? Next week, we are definitely going straight into the diamonds. Yes, yes, yes. I send you love. I send you joy. Namaste.